You know, a couple of years ago, a video with this very title popped up in my YouTube recommendations. I can't remember exactly whose it was, but I've seen quite a few people make videos on this subject, so I've wanted to make one myself for a while now. And because today is my birthday, I figured now was the perfect time for it. It's an ideal way to celebrate, thinking about the best of my time on Earth. Now, picking just one movie as your favorite from every single year is no small task, but I have managed to narrow it down to one from every year from my birth to the present. And remember, these are just my own personal picks. You're of course free to have your own. We have a lot of movies to get through, so I don't want to spend too much time talking about each one. Well, my standard reviews that I upload to this channel are exactly 50 words, so I see no reason to change the format now. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this celebration with me. We're going to look back on my single favorite movie from each year I've been alive. I was born in 1988, so that's where we're starting.
You're 37.
Yep.
Get out.
What? Why? Insert YouTube age verification joke here. So anyway, 1988. My favorite movie that was released that year, and I'm sure this will come as a surprise to no one, is Die Hard. There's a reason it's become an influential action movie classic. At a time when most action heroes were invincible bodybuilders, John McClane is just an ordinary guy who's incredibly relatable because he has to rely on his wits to escape deadly situations. He's vulnerable and frantic, but always thinking logically. Now onto my favorite movie of 1989. It's Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. My personal favorite of the series. It's another brilliant treasure hunt story brimming with spectacular action scenes and an utterly nail-biting climax, and it also takes the time to develop the characters further. My favorite aspect is the father-son relationship. Indy and his father make a hysterical comedic double act. My favorite movie of 1990 is Goodfellas, arguably Martin Scorsese's magnum opus. We follow Henry Hill's journey through gangster life, initially entranced by its glamorous exterior, but the dangerous side gradually becomes more prominent. It coincides with Henry's shift in business, as though dealing in drugs increases the risk. The camera work and editing throughout are just immaculate. 1991, Terminator 2: Judgment Day. A spectacular sequel and one of the best action movies ever made. It's a bigger, more exciting movie than its predecessor, and the action scenes always push the story forward. Said story is sublimely profound, posing questions about what it means to be human and what's ethical to avoid genocide. 1992, Aladdin. This was actually the first movie I saw in the cinema and remains one of my top Disney favorites. Not only are the songs and animation outstanding, but the characters are so captivating that the romance is undoubtedly one of Disney's best. Its moral about lying is also top tier. 1993, Jurassic Park. It's a story of the consequences of over-ambition, not just bringing dinosaurs into a world unprepared for them, but also the advanced technology of the park itself. The special effects were groundbreaking and are still impressive even today. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, top 5 easily. 1994, Pulp Fiction. My favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. The narrative structure enhances the central theme, the cyclical nature of violence, but it's mainly the dialogue that defines it. The conversations are spellbinding and make the characters seem more human because they're, for example, hitmen making small talk to kill time before a job. I have to say, Pulp Fiction may have taken the top spot, but it had some stiff competition. There are quite a few amazing movies from this year, including Ed Wood, which is also in my top 30 all-time favorites, The Lion King, The Shawshank Redemption, and not forgetting that year's Best Picture winner, Forrest Gump. Man, I never realized it before, but 1994 was a great year for movies. 1995, Toy Story. Anyone who lives on planet Earth has got to love this movie. It treats its premise seriously, and like all good kids' movies, it's packed with plenty of wit and charm to satisfy all ages. It was a huge part of my childhood and still remains my favorite Pixar movie. 1996, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. It may not be the best adaptation of the book, but I love how much darker and more adult it is than most Disney animated features, tackling issues like prejudice, heartbreak, and even lust. The music is awesome, including 2 of my absolute favorite Disney songs, Out There and Hellfire. 1997, LA Confidential. It brings together a brilliant cast in a mystery that's not only compelling but fully ties into its setting, a turning point for the city of Los Angeles, particularly the police force. By the way, did you know that the book it's based on is the third in the series? 1998 was a year that gave us powerhouses like American History X and The Prince of Egypt, but my personal favourite, believe it or not, is Snake Eyes. This is perhaps the ultimate movie that everyone seems to hate except me. I'll admit I was very confused when I first saw it, but it was the good kind of confused that made me want to understand it better. I love the unfolding mystery and the two lead performances. 1999, Toy Story 2. While not quite as good as the original, this is an A+ follow-up by any measure. It's part rescue mission and part further exploration of Woody's character, and the choice he's offered to last forever in a museum or stay with Andy for the few remaining years is pure genius. 2000, Memento. A brilliant psychological thriller and still one of Christopher Nolan's best works. It unfolds in reverse order to simulate Leonard's memory condition. We start each scene just as clueless as he is. Besides keeping you riveted until the pivotal moment, it's a powerful examination of how reliable memory really is. 2001, Spirited Away. A mind-blowing masterpiece that transports a young girl, and you, to a supernatural world that's truly unforgettable. Not just for the staggering abundance of creative designs, but also an ever-present sense of danger. Add truly phenomenal music, and you have another of my top 5 favourite movies of all time. 2002, The Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. As the journey continues, it expands the scope of Middle-earth, introducing new highlights like the Kingdom of Rohan, which has one of my favourite themes of the entire trilogy's score, and officially presenting Gollum. The central plot is Saruman unleashing his forces, culminating in the masterful Battle of Helm's Deep. 2003, The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King. Just wow, an astounding conclusion to a truly epic trilogy. It's the ultimate struggle for the fate of all Middle-earth. Sauron unleashes the full strength of his armies, leading to easily one of the greatest battle scenes ever filmed, and Frodo and Gollum's addiction to the ring further intensifies. It's a shame the Fellowship of the Ring came out the same year as Spirited Away, otherwise I could have had the whole trilogy on here. 2004, The Incredibles. This, to me, is the ultimate animated action movie. It has a great story bursting with clever ideas, riveting action scenes, characters who are actually intelligent and resourceful, and even manages to poke fun at some superhero cliches. It's a movie that leaves me amazed at how clever it is. 2005, The Descent. This was the movie that got me into horror films and remains the scariest movie I've ever seen. You quickly latch onto the characters and share their increasing panic, and the movie ingeniously makes the cave an enemy in itself, preying on your natural fears before the monsters even appear. 2006, Casino Royale. In my opinion, the best Bond movie ever, no contest. It cleaned the slate and started afresh with a more realistic approach and a nascent, vulnerable Bond. While it does have its share of impressive action scenes, surprisingly the pivotal poker game still manages to be the pinnacle of tension. 2007, Sunshine. I didn't really like this movie at first, but thoroughly changed my mind upon repeat viewings. In fact, it became my second favourite movie of all time. Watching the problems keep piling on, threatening to destroy the mission and doom humanity is absolutely nail-biting. I'm awestruck every time I see it. 2008, The Dark Knight. This Batman Begins sequel ups the ante to indescribable heights, putting Batman through arguably his toughest psychological challenge. The script brilliantly tackles themes like ethics, anarchy, and personal responsibilities. The stakes on the characters' decisions are always high. It's one of the most intense and exciting superhero movies ever made. By the way, I maintain that 1994 is a top contender for the best year for movies, but if you were to judge by my all-time favourites, you'd probably think 2008 was. It's certainly the most represented year on my list, with WALL-E and Let the Right One In also in the top 20. 2009, Up. If anyone tells you animated movies are just kid stuff, point them in the direction of this movie. The character's affection and thirst for adventure strikes a perfect chord, as does the core idea. I think everyone dreams of flying. It's a spectacularly heartfelt drama and an endlessly fun adventure. 2010, Inception. This is conclusive proof that big-budget blockbusters don't need to be brainless. The plan that the characters devise and the rules the movie establishes for the dream world are intriguing and ingenious. Both the expositional build-up and the action-packed heist itself command your attention, and overall it's an exhilarating ride. 2011, The Artist. It attempts to recreate the olden-day silent movies, but does find a few shrewd ways to incorporate full-on sound. The story itself is deeply heartbreaking, embodying the struggles of many actors in real life when the silent era ended. In short, it's a flawless tribute to the roots of cinema. 2012, The Cabin in the Woods. This is one of the absolute best horror movies I've ever seen, a truly inspired and stupendous work of genius. I don't want to spoil too much, but it's truly remarkable how it manages to deconstruct the entire horror genre and satirize the conventions without shoving it in your face. 2013, Rush. Even someone who doesn't remotely care about Formula 1, like me, can still find this enthralling. James Hunt and Niki Lauda are both likable in their own ways, and their passion, and the filmmakers, for the sport is conveyed so effectively that you can't help but share in it yourself. 2014, Angry Video Game Nerd, the movie. As a huge James Rolfe fan, I eagerly followed this movie's progress and seem to be in a minority who thoroughly enjoyed the result. It never stops being entertaining, even for a second. I love how progressively outrageous the situation becomes, and sometimes the obvious low-budget effects enhance the humor. 2015, Inside Out. It's a fantastically clever look at psychology and the conflicting emotions that come with growing up, and it even works as a straightforward adventure. It even pulled off an exceptionally rare feat for movies. It made me cry twice. It's truly marvelous. Seriously, one of the best movies ever made. 2016, Zootropolis, aka Zootopia. Definitely one of Disney's best animated features, not to mention an eternally important movie. I love how the characters' animal features are fully embraced, which paves the way for some top-notch social satire. The moral of always trying your best is presented exquisitely, and it's a legitimately good mystery too. 2017, Coco. This movie keeps getting better on every viewing. The story involving the central theme of family is just beautiful. I also love its imaginative take on the land of the dead, but its biggest asset is how it keeps subverting your expectations, almost immediately defying every cliche it sets up. 2018, Black Panther. It boasts a full cast of memorable characters, my favourite being Shuri. It has outstanding action scenes and an intriguing story about the responsibilities of running an advanced nation and how different people choose to approach them. Furthermore, it's a self-contained movie with very few references to other MCU titles. 2019, Avengers Endgame. The epic conclusion to the so-called Infinity Saga is, in my opinion, the absolute best of the entire MCU. It had to wrap up 22 movies spanning 11 years, and it went out with a huge bang. It serves as a tribute to the whole franchise in so many ways. 2020, Wolfwalkers. A magnificent showcase of animation and emotional storytelling. The effort really shines through in moments where you can see every pen stroke and sometimes even the rough sketches. In a way, that crudeness echoes the uncertainty of the fantasy, and the story brings intense joy and sadness in equal measure. 2021, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. This is an exceedingly funny and exciting film that uses its humor to enhance the believability of the characters and, by extension, the situation. The characters are fascinating, especially the father Zhu Wenwu, a ruthless but tragic figure, and I love how Shang-Chi himself is gradually developed through intermittent flashbacks. 2022, Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. It may be a tad more predictable than its predecessor, but still boasts some very clever twists that mock genre conventions and mess with your expectations. My favourite scene is when Benoit Blanc perfectly demonstrates why he wasn't invited, becoming the embodiment of people who spoil the movie for others. 2023, Godzilla -1. One of the absolute best Godzilla movies, if not the best, because the human drama is so intriguing that the movie remains interesting even in Godzilla's absence. Our heroes are trying to build a life together in a post-war ravaged world, and the monster himself is an allegory for PTSD. 2024, The Substance. It's a wild ride and a scathing satire of beauty standards in media and society in general. Its ultimate message is that obsessing too much over youthful beauty, or anything that you feel is not truly yourself, will only lead to self-destruction. But be warned, it's not for the squeamish. I was actually torn between this and Anora for a while. Consider the latter a very close second. And obviously at the time I'm recording this, 2025 isn't over yet, but I'd say my favourite movie of the year so far is probably Superman. I already gave my first impressions review in an earlier video, but just to reiterate, it's a fast-paced story that introduces a full cast without it feeling like you have to play catch-up, and above all, it reminds us how much fun a superhero movie can be without being brainless. So those are my favourite movies from every year of my life. But we're not quite done yet, because even though I've seen a lot of movies, there are still just as many that I haven't seen, which includes more than a few popular ones. So I'm going to add an extra section to this video, my most anticipated movie from each year. These are the movies on my IMDb watch list, again one from each year, that I'm most looking forward to eventually seeing, either because they have the most hype or they just look the most interesting to me. Or maybe they're simply the highest rated on IMDb. And my comments for this section will be much briefer than 50 words, because as I haven't seen these movies, I obviously can't review them. But I'll still try to say at least a few words on why I'm excited for each. So here we go. These are the movies from 1988 to 2025 that I want to see the most. Who knows, maybe they'll eventually become my new favourites in their respective years. My single pick for 1988 is Akira. From what I've heard, this was basically the movie that made anime popular in the West, and from what I've seen, yeah, it does look pretty awesome. For 1989, I'm going with Dead Poets Society. Of all the 1989 movies on my watch list, this one has the highest IMDb rating and frequently enters the conversation on Robin Williams movies. I'm not sure whether to expect a light-hearted comedy or an emotional drama, but either way, I expect you're surprised I haven't seen it already. 1990, Tremors. This seems to have become a bit of a cult classic among monster movies and spawned quite a few sequels. I don't know about them, but the original at least should be a lot of fun. 1991, Thelma and Louise. One of Ridley Scott's most beloved movies, about two friends on the run. 1992, My Cousin Vinny. I love a good courtroom drama, and this one's often listed as one of the all-time greats. 1993, Three Colors Blue. This is the first in a trilogy that seems to have got a lot of attention from critics and cinephiles. Even Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright have mentioned it as an inspiration for the Cornetto trilogy. I have to say, choosing just one movie from 1993 was a bit of a challenge. There are a lot of famous movies from this year that I haven't seen, including Carlito's Way, Tombstone, The Sandlot, Menace to Society, Cool Runnings, and Mrs. Doubtfire. For 1994, I was going to go with the other two films in the Three Colors trilogy, White and Red, until I realized there's another movie from that year that, if anything, I'm even more eager to see. Interview with the Vampire. The way it's been built up in my head, this is kind of the definitive modern vampire story. I look forward to finally seeing what all the fuss is about. 1995, Heat. It's a highly acclaimed crime drama, and the main thing I've heard mentioned about it is how realistic it is, especially a pivotal shootout that James Rolfe included in a top 10 list of shoot-'em-up movies. 1996, Jerry Maguire. One of Tom Cruise's most famous movies, with a couple of lines that have become iconic, so it's kinda hard not to be intrigued. 1997, The Fifth Element. When it comes to sci-fi action movies set in the future, this one has apparently left a big impression. 1998, Perfect Blue. Another anime that I've heard a lot of good things about. It seems the director, Satoshi Kon, specializes in blurring the line between fantasy and reality, which sounds truly fascinating to me. 1999, Eyes Wide Shut. Stanley Kubrick's final movie, famous for being the one where he passed away before it was released. 2000, Shadow of the Vampire. A fictional take on the making of the 1922 classic Nosferatu. It imagines that Max Schreck, the actor who played Count Orlok, really was a vampire. Sounds like a fun idea, and it even earned Willem Dafoe an Oscar nomination. 2001, The Devil's Backbone, one of Guillermo del Toro's early works. Need I say more? 2002, Catch Me If You Can. This takes the cake because it seems to be the most popular movie on my entire watch list, with by far the highest number of votes on IMDb. 2003, Tokyo Godfathers, another Satoshi Kon movie that, from what I hear, is pretty emotional. 2004, Million Dollar Baby, often cited as one of Clint Eastwood's best efforts as a director, good enough to win 4 Oscars anyway, including Best Director and Best Picture. 2005, Munich, a Steven Spielberg movie that I remember being advertised and quite prominently reviewed at the time, so even though it's not the highest rated 2005 movie on my watch list, it is the one I latched onto the most. 2006, Children of Men. Again, my main interest in this one is the director, Alfonso Cuarón, and this seems to be one of his most highly regarded films, if not the most. 2007, a tie between There Will Be Blood and Zodiac. I legitimately can't decide which of these two I'm anticipating more. They both come very highly recommended. 2008, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Immediately following Zodiac, we have another David Fincher movie, and the idea of a man aging in reverse certainly sounds interesting. 2009, Up in the Air. From what I've seen, this is one movie from 2009 that gets talked about the most, so naturally it's already left an impression and given me quite a strong desire to see it. 2010, Justice League Crisis on Two Earths. Apparently this began as a story that bridged the animated TV series Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, but was reworked into a standalone movie. 2011, Silenced. I came across this while going down a rabbit hole of South Korean movies. Given the subject matter, it sounds like a very uncomfortable but still powerful experience. 2012, Justice League Doom. Another animated Justice League movie that brings back Kevin Conroy as Batman and Tim Daly as Superman? Sold! 2013, The Garden of Words. In this case, all you need is 2 words, Makoto Shinkai. It's fair to expect good work from him. 2014, Muppets Most Wanted. One of only a couple of Muppet movies that I haven't seen yet. If I'm not mistaken, it's not a direct sequel to the 2011 movie, which may be why I haven't yet made it a priority to see it. 2015, Mr. Holmes. Believe it or not, even after 37 years, I still haven't read any of the Sherlock Holmes books, so I'm holding off on looking at this story of the aged detective looking back and struggling with dementia until after I'm familiar with the character. 2016, Silence. This was that year's Martin Scorsese movie. That alone pushes it to the top of the list. 2017, It. The only reason why I haven't seen this yet is because I want to read the book first. There are plenty of film adaptations I can enjoy without reading the book, but like many Stephen King stories, this seems like a case where the ideal experience really is your imagination. 2018, 96. To be honest, there really wasn't a clear winner here. There are no 2018 movies on my watch list that I'm truly desperate to see, so I just went with the highest rated one. 2019, Little Women. Again, I'm holding off on seeing this one until I've read the book, and maybe seen the other film versions as well. I'd rather judge this one as the latest adaptation rather than my introduction to the story. 2020, the first Demon Slayer movie, Mugen Train. I haven't seen the show yet, so it wouldn't make much sense to see this movie before doing so. But given the universal acclaim of both the show and the movie, I'm certainly looking forward to both. 2021, Mass. A quietly powerful drama, or so I've heard. The fact that Chris Stuckman named this as his favorite movie of the year has got me especially curious. 2022, The Fabelmans. Another Spielberg movie. From what I understand, it's a semi-autobiographical depiction of his life and desire to make movies, so I imagine this one was extra special for him, and I have no doubt I'll appreciate it for that. 2023, The Holdovers. I've heard a lot of love for this movie, and even some predictions that it'll become a new Christmas classic. It's hard not to have high hopes after that. 2024, The Brutalist. This is built up as a true modern epic. Since it garnered considerable acclaim and was nominated for Best Picture, it's definitely the 2024 movie I'm most curious about. And finally, the 2025 movie that I'm most looking forward to seeing is Zootropolis 2, aka Zootopia 2. At the time of this video's release, it hasn't come out just yet. I don't expect it'll be anywhere near as good as the first movie, but should hopefully still be a worthy follow-up. Well, there you have it. Those are my favourite movies from every year I've been alive, plus the ones I haven't seen that have piqued my curiosity the most. Now, I would ask you to tell me yours in the comments, but I realise that may be a big ask. I hope you enjoyed the video anyway. Okay, I'm going to go and enjoy the rest of my birthday now, and upload a video covering this same topic for video games. Be sure to check that out if you're interested. In the meantime, let me know your thoughts on the movies I mentioned here, and if you feel up to it, see if you can pick your favourite movies from each year of your life. And tell me how far back that goes. How many movies would you be choosing? Not as many as I had to, or way more? Be sure to like and subscribe for more reviews of movies I'm seeing for the first time, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.